Oh, why hello there. Today's topic will be the Articles of Confederation. Now, while we're on such a messy topic,
now, the Articles of Confederation was basically a loose friendship between the colonies. It was created during the war, and so it was pretty rushed, taking ideas from both French and European philosophers. The Articles created a government called a confederation, where all the power of the national government is derived from the state governments, creating a weaker national government and a stronger state government. Thus, the Articles get their name because it's a confederation. Now, the key components of the Articles of Confederation was the unicameral legislation system that it imposed, where each state got one equal vote, and only 9 out of 13 votes were needed to pass any type of resolution. Thus, each state was independent, and mainly independent of the national government. Therefore, chaos resumed after the Revolutionary War. States coined their own money, made their own taxes, built their own armies, or didn't build an army at all, and they didn't pay taxes to the national government. Plus, the national government couldn't regulate trade, so we had all these bits and pieces of different Virginia coins and Pennsylvania coins, and so everyone was very confused, and the national government wasn't very amused. But due to the use of all different bits of currency, all the war debts couldn't be paid to the war veterans, making them very angry, and making them not be able to pay mortgages on their farms and such. On the topic of debt, Congress had no power to levy taxes, and so states became independent and didn't really listen to any of Congress's proposals for money. We didn't really have a judiciary system, so now states could run willy-nilly and we had no real way to resolve conflicts. So much for that those fun-loving Pennsylvanians went to war with those equally as fun-loving Virginians. Now, something that escalated the failure of the Articles of Confederation was Shays' Rebellion, where a group of farmers rebelled in Massachusetts. The Massachusetts government was passing very pro-wealthy legislation, much so that the farmers had to pay their mortgages on their farms with cash that they did not have due to being able not to receive their war payment due to Congress not being able to levy taxes. And so through a convoluted series of events, which mainly involve angry shouting and probably liquor, Shays' Rebellion happened. And so Congress sent a request for money to raise an army to help squash the rebellion, which all states except for Virginia flatly rejected. Unable to raise an army, those with wealth in Massachusetts made a private militia to squash the rebellion, and they did so in 1787. However, many wealthy people in the Confederation were very afraid that this will happen to them and they would lose all their money or their property. And so they were very afraid about how the Articles could not muster an army. If they could not squander up the money for an army against a rebellion that is domestic, how could they fight off a foreign invader? And so they called upon a conference with all delegates from all the states to amend the Articles. But that's for another video. Now, for an example of that, we could look at how a substitute teacher has no power in a classroom. Now, the substitute teacher being the Articles of Confederation and the states being the students, the substitute teacher doesn't have any real control over the students, and the students are kind of running willy-nilly and being independent and doing their own little thing, and it's kind of creating chaos within the classroom. Well, the substitute teacher is good in some aspects, trying to handle the power and trying to get things under control, but really the students know that the substitute teacher has no real power, and so they're doing their own things and doing whatever the heck they want, which is probably not schoolwork or legal. It is like a substitute teacher because a substitute teacher has no power unless students are willing to give the substitute teacher some power and compromise. And so all the substitute teacher's powers are derived from the students, like the Articles of Confederation and the national government's powers were derived from the states. And so we looked for a better teacher, a permanent teacher, and we found that in the Constitution. But that's for another video. This has been another horrible school production. Goodbye.